is Good Morning Jacksonville.
Breaking as we come on the air at 4:30, a 7th deadly shooting in the last 7 days here in Jacksonville. The latest on the northwest side of town. We'll have live team coverage coming up. Plus, city leaders are fed up with the shootings. We'll tell you about the plans to cure violence around the First Coast. And it is Life Hack Week here on GMJ, and we've got the free apps that you can download to make your life just a little bit easier. Well, good Wednesday morning to you. I'm Katie Jeffries. Thank you so much for waking up with us very early on this morning. Now, we're off to kind of a dreary start this morning, so let's check in with meteorologist Mike Prangley to see when and if we have any chance of sun today. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Yes, we are going to see the sun today on our hump day, Wednesday. And let's get you over the hump this morning. And when we say dreary, well, I think more like foggy outside this morning. And we're seeing this patchy fog across the area, and you can see out toward Jacksonville Beach. We still have that bright supermoon, and you can see the sand here and the beautiful surf. And what we're talking today is a very warm start again, at 60 degrees, dew point at 59. So notice that humidity at 96%, giving us a little bit of that fog to start. Now we take a look at temperatures, pretty amazing for this time of year. The cool spot, really, 52 Waycross, 63 in St. Augustine. Many of February's this time of year, we've had temperatures as low as the teens and the 20s. But this morning, it's about the warm air and the dew points, rising dew points near those temperatures. So we've got the patchy fog. Thickest right now from Palatka and Putnam County into Flagler County. Notice Palm Coast with visibilities on the low side from Highway 1 all the way back to Highway 17. We pivot a little farther north, Keystone near Highway 301. Some more patchy, thicker fog to worry about. But today, let's take a look at that sunshine for Katie. We'll see it break out all areas as we head toward 9 a.m. Then some building clouds, and we'll talk about a late day storm and time that out coming up.
We are following some breaking news out of northwest Jacksonville, where JSO is seeing and investigating a 7th deadly shooting in the last 7 days. Now, Cam Eppinger, he joins us live with the very latest on what happened here. Good morning, Cam.
Katie, good morning. It happened again. Another shooting in Jacksonville, this time in the Moncrief area, right along Effie Street. Now, this shooting happened last night at around 11:30, between 11:30 and 11:45, and you can see that crime scene unit is still here on scene. And you can also see that there's several markers here in the middle of the street depicting just how many shots were fired. But police, I spoke with police earlier, and they tell me that ShotSpotter Technologies picked up the shots that were fired here at around 11:30, and then they arrived here minutes later, and they say when they arrived they saw a white car leaving the scene, and so they stopped that white car, and they found out that the victim was actually in the back seat of that car, and it was the car was headed to the hospital. So then that's when JFRD was dispatched here to the scene, and JFRD then took the victim to the hospital, where he later died. We're not getting much information on the victim. All we know at this hour is that he was a black male, and he was 27 years old. And at this hour, there's still no suspect description at this time, so police are urging anyone to come forward with any information. I want to go ahead and play a clip right now from police. Here's what they had to tell us about this shooting investigation. Take a listen.
Black male victim in the back seat of the car, suffering from at least one gunshot wound. He's believed to be approximately 27 years of age. Jacksonville Fire Rescue responded to the scene, transported the victim to UF Health Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased.
And again, this is just a live look here at the scene in the Moncrief area. Again, you can see the several markers here in the middle of the street depicting just how many multiple shots that were fired last night. Again, no suspect description at this hour, so police are urging anyone to come forward with information by using Crime Stoppers. We're live this morning in Moncrief. Cameron Eppinger, First Coast News on your side. Back to you.
Thank you, Cam. And this deadly shooting comes just hours ahead of a meeting about putting an end to the violence across the First Coast. Some of Jacksonville's city leaders will be there this morning, and On Your Side's Crystal Bailey has more on the group Cure Violence.
8 shootings, 8 injured, and 6 more dead, all within 1 week in Jacksonville.
What happened this weekend was terrible and tragic.
The mayor and sheriff met with leaders of Cure Violence to learn more about the program that aims to stop the cycle of violence. The group from Illinois views violence as a public health issue and aims to change the behavior of the community by training what they call violence interrupters. It's a community-centric approach to help identify situations that could become violent. Many of the violence interrupters are former convicts who've turned their lives around.
It provided opportunities for people to see, someone who's, turned their life around and gone in another direction.
Reverend Marshall Hatch with New Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church in Chicago says he helped implement the model in West Garfield Park more than 10 years ago. And he says it was also the area with the highest number of shootings in the city at the time.
I do remember that the first year there was a reduction of 67%.
He says the program he calls Ceasefire eventually died out in his community because of tensions between law enforcement and the community.
It was very difficult for them to see the ceasefire workers as allies.
In Philadelphia, they implemented the program 8 years ago. The spokesperson from Ceasefire Philadelphia says their data shows the program helped drop the number of shootings by 30% in the first year. In Baltimore, the police data shows there was up to 56% reduction in killings after the program began. Even New York has seen a 63% reduction in shootings.
This is really a boots-on-the-ground, innovative approach to interrupting some of these repeat acts of violence that occur. You shot at me, I shoot at you, and then my brother shoots back, and so we see a lot of that in this community.
Our Crystal Bailey reporting there. The Cure Violence meeting resumes today at 9 a.m. We'll, of course, let you know what happens. And you can find more details about the recent violence in Jacksonville on firstcoastnews.com. Also, be sure to download the First Coast News app for all the latest updates as well as news coverage. This morning, the Trump administration is facing another lawsuit over the president's emergency declaration to build a border wall. The American Civil Liberties Union filed a suit saying that there is no emergency to justify the president's action. First Coast News anchor Heather Crawford sat down with Republican Senator Marco Rubio, who says he believes there is a crisis at the border, but fears the funding will come out of the military construction budget, which will impact naval bases here in Florida.
You do not think President Trump should have declared a national emergency?
I do not. And most importantly, I don't think he should have declared a national emergency on the military construction piece of it. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with using the anti-drug money for it or the forfeiture money. And that gets you pretty close to the $5.7 billion. But it's that last billion or so that's going to be a real problem. It's going to hurt our military.
Senator Rubio says funding the wall this way is testing the outer limits of the separation of powers. He thinks Congress should revisit the emergency declaration laws. Your time is now 4:36. Let's take a look at your headlines here in the fast lane. Florida schools could soon be required to have Narcan on campus. Narcan is a life-saving drug that can revive someone after they overdose on opioids. A new bill was just filed in Tallahassee, and we will let you know if it passes. Nature's Path Foods is recalling more than 400,000 boxes of its kids' gluten-free cereal. The company says it may actually contain gluten. So if you have the cereal, you can return it for a refund, or you can contact Nature's Path Consumer Services. The disaster recovery assistance deadline to help families rebuild following the storm has been extended to March 29th, and this is for Hurricane Irma. Now, the program helps families that were hardest hit there by the hurricane. Your time is 4:37. It is Life Hack Week here on GMJ. Up next, Brooke Baptiste has the free apps that you can use to make life a little bit easier. That's in just 2 minutes.
Getting you out the door? Hey, no big coats needed. Amazing. 59 degrees, but we're going to time out some patchy fog to start and a thunderstorm to finish.